All right, folks, so today we have this beautiful PC Engine boxed unit that I received from Japan. I've been lusting after one of those for years and years, and I never pulled the trigger, and I'm not sure why, because this is very much a console I enjoyed when I was a kid. In fact, a friend of mine had one, and we used to play this for hours and hours on end. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. What's going on? What's going on?
Execute Route 66.
You're not, I'm not, it's not it.
They offer PCB manufacturing and part assembly, of course, but they also offer a number of other services like CNC machining, metal sheet fabrication, 3D printing, and even injection molding. Pretty much anything you need for all your projects. Go to PCBWay.com, upload your project files, and get an instant quote. And thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I'm a Space Lord.
That's not what it's called. Right, this is the content of the box. It's all complete. We've also got the, well, this wasn't in there, but the original charger is in there. This is a just 9-volt center negative UK, because I live in Ireland. We use the UK format here, and it should power this no problem. We've a controller. We have the cable here. So this outputs a composite. And my plan initially for this was to first region mod it and to do RGB mod to this internally. In fact, I have both here. They're tiny little boards. They would fit nicely in there. My main problem with it is I sort of need to, well, butcher this case, and this is my only unit, and I kind of want to keep it as stock as possible. One thing is the region mod can be somewhat bypassed. I think the new Turbo Express Pro whatever card has region unlock kind of on it. So it has indeed. It's this little switch here that sets it to PC Engine or CoreGraphx 16, so essentially Japan or US. I have a PC kit. So this is by the way, this is a Japanese console, and it will only read essentially Japanese cards. I have Key to Courage here, the US one, and that won't actually play on this as is, so it needs to be region modded. But if I use the EverDrive, the Turbo EverDrive, I think that's what it's called. I think I should be able. I think it can read different region ROMs. I could be wrong here, but we'll try it. The other thing is, it's still very cheap to get, or much cheaper to get, Japanese card. And if there's no text required to play the game, I'd probably better off buying a few of these Japanese ones and just dealing with them like that. Anyway, so I don't think we'll do the region mod on this one. I might get another one down the line, just a unit, and do the region mod on that. The RGB mod is handy, but I actually have plans for this, not to use RGB. You can also get an attachment, which is what I'm going to do. Get an attachment here that will output or get your audio out of their composite as well as RGB, without having to modify the console and drill a new hole somewhere here. I think it's here or here. Which I don't really want to do. Same with the region mod. We need to drill a hole for the region switch. So I think I'm just going to forget about these and get myself one of these attachments and see if it works. But first, we need to test that this console works and that it can indeed play and works fine. Yep. So I know you might need to recap these at some point. I think this, obviously it's all the SMD in there, including, I assume, SMD caps. So far it's running fine. I haven't opened this. There's another purpose of this video though. What I want to do is, it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I have a pile of these LCD screen. These are sort of car little webcams or cameras for your car that you can get, little kits that allow you to actually fit, I've got one here, yeah, a little webcam at the back of your car and connect that to the front panel onto your screen, so you can reverse for cars that don't have a reverse camera. Certainly my van doesn't have one, and I was thinking about doing something like that ages ago. But I have, and I remember ordering a few of these from AliExpress. They work fine. I've used them for different purpose. I have this one, which is might be too big, I think, because I want something that's sort of the width of, yeah, it's just slightly too big for what I have in mind. But I think something that size might work better. Also, we'll need to have the display in 4:3 as opposed to 69, so it might be a little small. We'll see. So what I want to do is, I know when you get the sort of RGB attachment in there, somebody has already made a 3D printed kind of unit that will hide and extend the length of the console. Yeah, that's what I mean. So this is actually to accommodate this type of RGB board, but it should work fine. We should have plenty of space. So what I want to do is maybe see if I can modify that 3D print to actually accommodate a sort of tilted screen, something like that. That'll fit nice here. Also, I need to make myself a somewhat larger box to see if I can fit a little audio amp. These guys here, again, this was, I think, an AliExpress job. I have a few of these, but they're quite small. This is in comparison to the console and the carts. They would actually fit perfectly and tidy somewhere there. And if I can find a little speaker, maybe something that size as well, that would actually provide me a nice audio. It's not, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just an amplifier, really. This it's a simple design, but I like the form factor. In fact, I mean, I could probably get smaller or design something smaller, but I have these, so I'm going to use that. And it takes 8 to 12 volts, which is handy because I'm going to power the LCD screen to a 12 volt power supply. And it should provide plenty of power for this. Anyway, before we get to that, I want to try to see what dimensions I need for a bezel. Essentially, because we'll be in these do 4:3 format as well. There's a little menu that you can access with those buttons, and you can set that to 69 or 4:3. Anyway, so I'm going to make a bezel, measure everything, make a little sort of bezel so that only the 4:3 section of the screen is visible. It'll give us what width we need and what size and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I've done just a trial test piece for the monitor bezel, and I just want to see if it actually fits in there. Not sure if there's a way. Actually, I didn't think about that. It's there. Ah, yes, I did allow some clearance, but I think this is just perfect as it is. It moves slightly, and the way I'm going to fix it is probably just hot glue, or I could make little like little holes here and here, and just have little kind of bloop bloop, little whatever wedges. Now, what if I power this guy? Ah, yes. I want to see, because it's hard to tell with the black, but I did measure everything, and let's see the gameplay, because everything is a bit clearer. Oh, yes. Oh, this works. Yes. This is the top of the case, so this is the original case, and I actually cut some grooves here because the way I want to make this, it'll make printing a lot easier, but I want to be able to drop this essentially right in those grooves and be able to just essentially glue it, or have it at least wedged in place. All right, a few hours of printing later, this is what we have. So this is the bottom of the case. So this part wasn't my design. I just took it from Thingiverse. But essentially this fits like that, and then you can slide, so I'll do that first. You can slide your PC engine right here, and it should, yeah, there you go. So it fits with screws and everything. I didn't print the back plate because I don't quite need it now. But what I've done is I've created an opening and 2 openings here for this guy that should, with a bit, I might need both hands for that, but yeah, it should slot in nicely. Actually, it wedges perfectly. Wonderful. And there you go. And my screen then will come here. I think I have enough room to fit as well the audio amp here, and just have the knob outside like that. Just won't get enough clearance this way, but that's okay. I mean, got to be practical about these things as well. So like that, and I can, once I haven't received it, but once I get the attachment, I can get the audio out from there into here. And this guy, I'll just connect it from the back, and then I can get the power from splice the cable from that's going to the screen, put it here, and that's our outputs here, stereo outputs. All right, so this is what I had in mind. This is these guys. So RGB is output here, or you can output RGB through a Mega Drive 2, and you can select between the 2 outputs here. But also you get audio out here and composite. And I have this rigged up, and as you can hear, I found this little it works great. This was the speaker that comes with those Volca modules. They're not great for making music, but for stuff like that, they are perfect. And because I've actually had to decase this to actually incorporate this into my modular setup, I ended up with this extra little speaker. So that's perfect for that. It's the right size. I'm also heavily going at sanding and painting and then resanding. So this is the second sanding, and I think we'll have, I mean, we can still see, you know, some traces of 3D print. Here doesn't quite matter as much because this is going to sit here like that, but I'm trying to get the finish as smooth as possible, which is always tricky with 3D print. You can see there's still a lot of stuff. So I think I have about another 4 sessions of sanding and repainting and resanding and repainting. The idea is to get the paint to settle in pretty much every groove until the surface, and you sand until the surface is smooth again, and repeat. So I think I have about, yeah, probably four other sessions of that. Fun. All right, I think that's as much as I'm gonna get out of this. It's not completely perfect. You can see here there's some still traces of 3D print, but this, you know, it's highly visible. It's hardly visible. The most important one to get was actually the front panel and this section here, and I think that's fine. Absolutely acceptable. You can see here, if you look in closely, there's still some stuff, you know. I think filler here would have probably have been best, but I think it looks quite okay. And you know, I'm not even gonna notice. So what I ended up doing, I think there's 6 coats of just paint, sanding back, and you can see this is the original. Like, this is going to be hidden because the screen is going to be here, but this is the original kind of look of the whole unit. Typical 3D print, and this is the final look. It was 6 layers of painting and generous sanding, using, I think this is a 60 grit, and then moved to 80. And I had this one, which is no, this is 80. I had 120 somewhere, and then 240 over 6 layers. And then I had another final layer, which I wet sanded then, and using some 1500 and 2000. And this is the end result. I could do one more coat, but I think, especially here, you know what, I'm going to do one more coat. Because that's going to bother me if I don't. The paint here sort of reappeared after the last sanding. Or I didn't quite paint it properly. Yeah, let's finish one coat then, maybe just to hide this section, and to be honest, I still see some traces of lines, and this is the lines of the paint. Although it's perfectly smooth to the touch. It's quite odd. Will I bother? Yeah, I have to. It's going to bother me otherwise. All right, let's do one last coat. I should say as well, this is the end of the second day of just doing nothing but painting, sanding, and this stuff takes time. You need to give it at least a good 4 hours drying before just sanding. Otherwise, the paint won't be dry enough. It'll clump, and just do very light coats every time if you want to get just a clean finish, or as clean as possible. This is not perfect, but I think the last coat would work great. All right, I got this back inside. Things are kind of cramped here, but essentially this speaker is going to go right here, and I think the connection is a bit loose, so I'm going to have to redo that. Facing this way, or actually I could literally have space here. I could actually leave them underneath. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Just leave them right here underneath, and maybe just glue them in place. The only thing that and this goes here, is going to go here somewhere. The only thing I haven't quite got room for, and I was hoping to just cram here, is this mess of connectors here, and that's coming from the screen, and that's needed because it takes the composite and the power in that powers both the screen and the amp. I suppose, but I haven't a lot of space left. I could just cut that, just solder the composite directly from over there into the screen, and then maybe just have a little connector. I don't have a connector for this, but have something coming out of here or something like that, for instance. I don't know. Technically not needed. It works fine as it is, but this is the overall result, and essentially this is the look I was coming for. The color almost matches. It's not quite, but I mean, if you look closely, it's not quite the same color, but it's pretty close. I didn't think it would be that close, actually, to be honest, especially here. And I think it's acceptable. In the 3D model, this part here from the original model for this was for, I think, was it for an SD card or something? I can't remember. I'm going to close that off in my version of the model because that's not needed. And I was going to close all of this, but it's kind of handy to have everything open, I suppose, especially because it's such a DIY type of project. I'll try my best to find a link to these and these type of screens from AliExpress if you want to order them from there. But other than that, this is the end result. I need to tidy this, and let me power this. Look at this. So the volume knob works. It sticks out a bit too much for my liking, really, but it's just the size of the shaft that's in there. So let me just, there you go, realign this. The two speakers make a lot of difference. So the screen is not RGB, it's composite, but to be honest, for something that size, let me just, there you go. I mean, it's pretty good for a composite, but the size of the screen does help. Like I honestly wouldn't quite know that it's not a straight RGB. Yeah, I think it's perfectly acceptable for what it is. Before I continue, I posted this on Twitter and it attracted quite a bit of attention. So people asking me what the parts are and whether the model was available on Thingiverse. Because I said I would release the model. I have now. It's here. It's in 3 parts. So like I said, these parts are essentially just a modified version of an existing case that was done by somebody else. I'll try to find the name. I'll put it up on screen. And what I've done is there was a few openings here and there. I've closed everything. I've added those holes you'll see for the screen attachment, and left an opening here because you need to pass wires between here and there. And also I've left an opening, and I've added the mounting poles. They were actually a separate print on the original one. I've actually attached them to here because you'll need them just to secure everything to the bottom plate here. And also I've left this part opened, and same thing with the screen. I've let this part open because you need access to all that, you know, regularly, but you need access to tidy all that. So if somebody wants to design like whatever a backplate to just close everything off, I don't recommend it, to be honest, but you do whatever you want. I've also added links to all these parts that I've used. So the audio amp, the screen, which is a bit costly, but you know it's a good screen, and it works well. And the RGB booster thing, and on that I just use the composite and the audio out. Don't bother with the RGB because that screen only takes. There you go. So it's now available on Thingiverse, and I have all the links here for what you need exactly to build this guy. Anyway, folks, this video is plenty long enough at this stage. If you want to build yourself one of these, I've left the link to the Thingiverse model where I have links to all the parts that I use for that. It's a rather simple. It just needs a little bit of a tidying of the cables behind, but it's a very simple and easy thing to make. I've also secured now the box so everything is solid, and you know it doesn't move, and I can just enjoy and play a few games. I'm very pleasantly surprised with the quality of the screen, if I'm honest. The video doesn't quite do it justice, but it is a very nice screen, and it's, you know, quite sharp because of the size, I suppose. If you have any questions about the build, just fire them in the comment section. And if you've built one yourself after this, let me know on Twitter, because I'd love to know. You'll find me on Twitter under BG Ollie. Pretty much the same everywhere. Folks, I hope this was interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.